Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Ask Tari. Today I just want to discuss questions that I receive frequently from non-Africans. Okay, this could be people from Canada, people from Asia, people from Europe, basically anyone from a continent which is not Africa. So the first question which I usually get from a person after conversing with them for over 5-10 minutes is, wow, how come you speak such good English? How come your English is good? Were you born here? How come? Aren't you African? And then I've begun to understand. So I'm very calm when I'm answering this question. I'm very understanding. I explained to them that English is one of the official languages of Africa. I explained to them about just briefly, African history, the partitioning of Africa by European countries, and how almost every African country, they have an official European language, right? I explained to them how there are French-speaking African countries, how there are countries that speak English, countries that speak Portuguese, you know? To which they then ask, okay, so besides the official languages, do you also speak African? At this point, I'm getting a little annoyed because I've already explained that we have different countries in Africa. So to respond to this question, I first say Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent with different countries, different languages, different dialects, etc. So that's when I start explaining to them where I'm from, what languages I speak, as well as the official English language. But guys, it's just something else. You realize that when you're in Africa, you learn a lot more about the rest of the world before you've even traveled there. I remember when I was in Form 1, Form 2, I was already learning history. By the time I finished my O-levels, I had learned European history, I had learned African history. I learned a lot about other countries. I knew about World War One, I knew about World War II, I knew about what happened to the Jews, I knew about what happened to other African countries and their role in the liberation of our own country and our country's role in the liberation of other countries. So we learned a lot, right? And I've realized that other countries have not had the privilege of being taught about Africa and what happens in Africa. The most that people know here, from my deduction in Canada, they have Black History Month, where they learn about the history of Blacks in North America. They don't really have the full view of Black history because there are Blacks in Africa and there are Blacks in America, in Canada, in the rest of the world. But the only history they learn is about the Blacks in North America. And they know nothing much about the Blacks that remained in Africa during slave trade. So sometimes I like to turn it into a history lesson. I start to explain to them everything. Like, look. Anyway, I digress. The one other question that I get is, do you live in the jungle? And I'm thinking, And then I'm like, what? And then they'll be like, no, I mean, in your cities and towns, do you walk around with monkeys and goats and baboons and lions? They just imagine us in a town full of animals, all sorts of animals, all the animals that they know. In Africa, they just imagine us living in villages or towns or whatever with these animals. And I'm like, no, we don't live with animals. The animals are in the game parks, right? This is where you guys would go if you're coming as tourists. That's when you go and you'd be like, I went to game park, I went and saw elephants, I went and saw crocodiles, I did a game drive, that kind of thing. But it's not like our day to day. We don't even see animals like in the urban areas. We don't. We have to travel to the game parks in order to see them. Another question. Do you guys have tall buildings? To which I reply, oh, you mean skyscrapers? They're like, oh, wow. At this point, they're surprised that I know such a big word. Like, you know, the word skyscraper? I mean, they've already simplified it for you, like a tall building. I'm like, yeah, we do have tall buildings. We do have cities, they just look like any other city in this developed world and stuff, to which I then show them pictures. And again, I have to explain how there was colonization and development in Africa. And the systems that were set up in Africa, they are simply systems set in place by people from the developed world. So it's bound to be similar, right? And then another question is, what kind of houses do you guys have? Do you live in huts? Do you have electricity? All those questions. And again, you then have to bring out pictures of your home, pictures of, or to go on YouTube and show them the different neighborhoods. You then have to explain that just like here, we have plush areas, we have medium density areas, we have high density areas. We have the same concept that we have here is the same concept that we have in Africa, except maybe we probably have a lot more space in terms of land back home. Another question I get every time I change hairstyles is that your hair? Guys, you could be sitting next to someone for the last 1 week. You would be sporting your afro. I'm talking your natural hair. And then the next day you walk in with these crochet with this crochet hair, and the person will be like, wow, is that your hair? I'm like, excuse me, when did my hair grow this long? And after 2 weeks, I will change this hairstyle and come in with a wig, and I'll still get the same question, is this your hair? The next month I might come in with braids this time, and the question is always the same. It could be long, it could be short, it could be whatever, but the question is always, is this your hair? And again, I've learned to be a bit tolerant, because we are always talking about how representation matters. Growing up on TV, we only used to see certain types of hair. There was not a lot of representation on African hair, so you'd find that not a lot of people are aware of what our hair is actually like. They don't understand our hair. And a lot of places of employment, they don't allow us to come in with our natural hair. They prefer Eurocentric hairstyles. So I kind of understand, and I have to educate my friends and explain to my friends how our hair is different, right? And I like that nowadays when you're watching TV, there's a lot of representation now. There are a lot of Black people on TV now. There are a lot of Black women on TV now, so people actually can see what African hair looks like. So these are some of the questions that I get here. I really kind of understand. And one day I had a heart-to-heart talk with a Canadian, and they explained to me that most of what they know about Africa, they learned it from journalists back in the 90s and the 80s, who would come in with pictures of starving children in Africa, in Ethiopia, and all those things, like skeletal levels, like hungry kids and people suffering in poverty. So most of them, that's the most that they know about Africa. They remember donating things, donating goods and clothes and whatnot to missionaries, saying they're going to send these things to children in Africa. So they don't know any better. And frankly, I don't think they care to learn half the time. Some people don't seem to care to learn, because it's now 2020, it's 2021. There are a lot of resources on the internet. If you really want to read up on African history, if you want to read up on Africa, you can learn some of these things. Just like I have learned about different countries. I didn't learn much about China when I was in school, but I've read up on it. I now know a lot more about China. We learned about India briefly, India, Pakistan, but since then I have done my research. I've read further on those countries, but I don't see the same effort from the other side. So it would be nice if people try to learn more about our continent. People try to learn more about our countries. It's a beautiful continent. There's so much to learn. There's a lot of people who are educated, who speak English, well-to-do. There are a lot of intelligent Africans out there, people with money, people living better lives than even here. But it seems that we still have a long way to go to educate the rest of our counterparts from the rest of the world about how beautiful life is in Africa. We do have our challenges. I'm not going to deny that. We do have our challenges as a continent. If you like this video, please do like, share, subscribe, and provide your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.